Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Well, today we are going to carry on our after reading lesson, of course, and we are going to deal with the reported speech. And have a look at these examples here. You've got 4 examples here. So the informer said, we didn't witness an emergency situation. The reporter said, how many people did the fireman save? And the reporter said, do you help people after disasters? And the officer said, go out. See, the policeman said to the young man, don't go out after the 7 o'clock and let's help the neighbors. The man told us, of course. So if we take sentence number 1 here, for instance, of course, if we take this one here, so the words here, which are between quotation marks, see, the words here, we didn't witness an emergency situation. These are the words of the informant. These are the words the informant said word by word. So they are their exact word. So these are the original words of the informant. And these are the original words of the reporters. And these are the original word, the exact word of the policeman. This is what he said word by word. So that's why we are putting these words here between quotation marks. These are their property. So that's why we are using quotation marks here. Okay, so this is what we call in English the dialect speech. This is what we call the dialect speech, of course. And the dialect speech here can have different forms. Have a look. So sometimes you can find it like this in some books. You've got the man said, you've got a comma, or sometimes you've got a colon here, like this one. Sometimes a comma, sometimes a colon. So it's the same thing. Got quotation mark, and then you've got the statement here, or the speech, or the remark, or whatever, of course, and then quotation mark, you close. Or sometimes you start with the remark, or the statement, or the speech, or whatever, and then if it is a sentence, so you've got a comma here, and then you close. See? And then you say, the man said, or if you've got a name like this one here, you can say Ahmed said, or said Ahmed. So you can invert them here. The inversion is possible here when you've got a name. And sometimes in the direct speech, you can use the verb in here, said, say, and in here, sometimes we can use told to tell in the simple past, and we say told. But be careful here, told here, to tell here, must have an object. You must always have an object here. The man told me, and then comma, quotation mark, and then you finish your statement. Concerning the question, it is the same thing, of course. We say the man said, comma, and then you got quotation mark, and then you got question mark, and then you close. So these are the different forms of the direct speech, of course, you are going to find. Most of the time, the introductory verb here, when I say the introductory verb, it is this one here. The informant said, the reporter said, the policeman said, the reporter said, the officer said, the man told us. So most of the time, the introductory verb here is in the past. If it is in the past, we must make some changes inside the quotation marks. So if the verb here is in the simple past, there are some changes here we are going to make. We must change some things here. These things are, most of the time, it is the pronouns, tenses, time expressions, and the place. It depends on the sentence you have. Now, if we take a statement, for instance, if we take the statement, for example, then we take the example, the informant said, we didn't witness an emergency situation, of course. So suppose you didn't hear what the reporter or the informant said, and you ask your friend to report the words. So you say to him, sorry, Ahmed or Mohammed, what did he say, or what did they say? So your friend here is going to report the words of the informant to you. And he's going to say, The informant said that they had not witnessed an emergency situation, of course. As you can see, so the sentence here is different from this one here. So what did he do? What did your friend do when he reported the statement? So number one, he used the verb said in the simple past. He said sad. So sad, sad. Then two, he added that. A three, they here. In here you've got, in the direct statement, you've got we. It became they. Number four, the simple, he said witness, didn't witness. So it is the simple past. He used the past perfect, so he changed the tense here. So number one, the verb said in the past. Number two, he added that. Number three, we became they. Number four, he changed the simple past to the past perfect. And number five, he omitted, he didn't mention, so he didn't use the comma and the quotation marks. See? And this is what we call the indirect speech. This is what we call the indirect speech. So what is the difference between this one here and this one here? In here, we are repeating the exact word here. These are the exact words of the informant. And in here, we don't repeat the exact word. We give the general meaning of what they said. So this is what we call the reported speech, of course. Now, this is concerning the sentences, of course. So, once again, the informant said, we didn't witness an emergency situation. So how do we report the statement here? We say, the informant said that they had not witnessed an emergency situation. So the verb here said in the simple past. Number two, we added that, which is optional here. You can say that, or sometimes we don't use it, of course, but I advise you to use it here. So said that they, so we here, the changes here we are talking about, we became they, and then you've got the simple past here, became the past perfect. And these are the different changes here. And of course, we don't use the comma and we don't use the quotation mark. This is concerning your statement. Now, how about your question, for instance? If you take the question here, he said, how many people did the fireman save? So this is a direct question here. Direct question, so you've got the question word, you've got subject, auxiliary, and so on. Now, if we report this question here, we say, the reporter asked how many people the fireman had saved. So what did we do when we reported the WH question here? What did we do? So we turned the verb said into a verb of inquiry. So have a look here. Your attention please here. Said here, and here we used asked. So when you turn, if you've got said here, when you turn the question, so you are going to turn this verb here, said, into a verb of inquiry. That means you can use ask or wonder or want to know in the simple past. So number one, we turn the verb said into a verb of inquiry. That means ask, wonder, want to know in the simple past. Number two, you repeat your question word here. You got how many, so you must repeat it, of course. In this case, you've got how many, so you repeat it. Number three, so you use the affirmative form of the verb here. You should be very careful here. So we say, the reporter asked how many people the fireman had saved. So subject verb. We don't put an auxiliary here or change the verb. We put the verb before the subject or the subject after the verb. So it is subject verb. So it's the affirmative subject verb. So you should be very careful. Once again, so when we report WH question, of course, so we turn the verb we have in the direct here. into a verb of inquiry if it is said, because sometimes you can have ask here. You can have ask here, so you keep it, you don't change it. But if you have said, then you turn it into a verb of inquiry. Ask, wonder, want to know in the simple past. Two, so you repeat your question word in the direct here. In this case, you've got how many. And the three, the verb here should be in the affirmative. Here, this one here. See, the fireman, subject, fireman had saved. So it should be in the affirmative.